Hello, I'm Bridget Boughtон, and today I'm going to be presenting my culture issue on some of the Olympic aspects that I chose. I chose transgender inclusion in the Olympics, something that has always been an issue within the Olympics and the IOC for making these kinds of decisions. And I think that more recently we can make light on this situation, not only with the Olympics, but everyday sports. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Olympics controversy within letting a biological male compete in female Olympic events. Today, I want to share one of the most recent Olympic controversies within letting a biological male compete. Laurel Hubbard was a New Zealand weightlifter who competed in the Tokyo Olympics in 2020 and was the first openly transgender woman to compete, which was his own set of controversy to be the first one. So she got a lot of hate and a lot of publicity during the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. This obviously sparked a lot of controversy, not only with the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, but it also sparked controversy in the IOC, the International Olympic Committee's decision-making, and what kind of choices moving forward would they make, and if they would really listen to the public on their personal opinions. Because at the end of the day, the Olympics is one of the biggest sporting events in the world, and these athletes are competing at the highest level, so obviously controversy is going to spark within any decision they make, but especially with biological males competing with females in their own sport. So for some historical context, back in 2004, the Olympics made the decision to let transgender athletes compete in the Olympics. And then obviously Laurel Hubbard competed in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. That obviously caused a global debate. And obviously today there's been several transgender athletes and many controversies, but still no definite solution that has been made by the IOC and other Olympic boards or other sport boards. But today, the IOCs are making rules regarding transgender women to demonstrate that they have maintained a certain level of testosterone and estrogen to make them eligible to compete in these certain athletes. But at the end of the day, do estrogen levels really matter when it's the size, build, and strength of the female athletes that are biologically different than the male athletes? And does this progress or make it unfair and wrong for these women athletes? Today, there are many athletes like Leah Thomas that we all have heard of. And she actually filed a lawsuit against the Paris 2024 Olympics. But she got rejected by the Paris 2024 Olympics because she filed a lawsuit against the world of aquatics, when she was swimming. That's another great example of someone that has caused a lot of controversy. Leah Thomas is a biological male and competed against Riley Gaines in the NCAA championship for swimming and tied with Riley Gaines, and they chose to take Riley Gaines' trophy away for Leah Thomas to take pictures. So it really shines light on if this is controversy or if we're trying to shine light on it. Today, there are a lot of debates considering if these athletes should be allowed. And at the end of the day, no biological male should be allowed to compete against a biological female, especially at the highest level of sport, which is the Olympics, when we're supposed to be making ethical decisions regarding our athletes' health and well-being. As much as females are athletic as men are biologically built stronger and faster than female, especially with the Laurel Hubbard situation. That obviously caused its own set of controversy because men are built more stronger than female. So obviously this specific event, weightlifting, is going to cause a lot more controversy than an everyday sport. Like Leah Thomas is another great example of a sport that shouldn't be fair to compete a biological male against a biological female. When Leah Thomas, before she transitioned, was a male, she lost in every single event. She was always last place. But then when she transitioned to be a female and competed against women, she blew them out of the park and beat them by a long shot. So is that really fair? And should the IOC be allowing these kinds of decisions? That's That's the question that they need to answer themselves. It also is a very morally wrong issue, considering things like a contact sport like basketball. A biological male competing against a woman in women's basketball could be extremely dangerous for the female. Today, with social dynamics, obviously there's a lot of global controversy whenever these Olympics decides to allow a transgender athlete compete. But at the end of the day, the IOC relies greatly on the public opinion and how the public feels. This makes a lot of sense because the public opinion is every single country in the whole world. The Olympics is the biggest sporting event in the whole world and the highest level of sport that people train their whole lives for. So obviously it's going to cause a lot of global controversy within these sports and these athletes and their well-being to decide on whether or not they should be able to compete or not. The media is also a big part of this global controversy because a lot of media outlets will either deteriorate and tear down these specific athletes, even though at the end of the day, yes, they are choosing to compete, but if they weren't allowed to, obviously that's the IOC's decision, or the media is shining light on it, which is also another part of controversy because then we have a divide within the Olympics, which is supposed to be a part where all of our nations come together in competition and what we love, and it makes it powerful because everyone loves to compete and loves sports. Therefore, obviously the inclusion of trans athletes in the Olympics is one of the most controversial and division between our cultures in issues we face in the Olympics today. Laurel Hubbard is a great example of the most recent controversy, considering she was a weightlifter and is built a lot differently than most of the females. This causes a lot of ethical issues within every sport, especially for the men and women that work so hard for the Olympics. I chose to add a picture of Simone Biles, considering how hard she's worked for her spot in the Olympics and will go down as one of the greatest Olympians ever for the United States. And a lot of these choices can really tear down that hard work and isn't morally fair. The IOC at the end of the day needs to figure out a way that everyone can feel safe and their voice is heard and their hard work is paid off and feels the best that they can feel. Here are my references, and that's it. Thank you so much.